This hour is not a new class. It is a continuation of a single premise. We have only one subject, only one foundation, only one life. God is one. As we gather, remember, your advantage is not in the number of words you have heard, but in the united realization in this room. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I. Do not let your mind reach for the morning or for yesterday. Take this breath and let it be the housekeeping of consciousness. God is. The Lord is my shepherd. That is all. Now the radical reversal. You can test before you sleep. You have never had a problem. You have had a thought you trusted. You looked at an appearance, named it, feared it, calculated it, and then you bowed to the name you gave it. The appearance is not the problem. The faith you gave it is the problem. You set up a second power and then prayed to the first to conquer the second. Stop. Stop. We are not beginning with arguments. We are beginning with God is. Take no thought for your life, so the Master said. Who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature, or make one hair white or black, or mend a broken ledger, or quiet a racing heart? Who? Not one. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. As long as you believe there is power in the appearance, you are not free. As long as you believe there is power in your thought about the appearance, you are not free. God is one. Therefore, the appearance has no power. The thought has no power. Fear has no power. They borrow, and they borrow only from your belief. Withdraw the loan. Tonight, in this room and in your room, withdraw the loan. How? Not by better words, not by braver thoughts. Be still and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall quiet. Hold those teeth together. Let the mind exhaust its slogans on the doorstep while you step over into silence. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. Sit 5 minutes without petition, without plan, without bargaining. Let the words God is rise once and fall away, and then nothing, no mantra, no effort. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet you can rest in it. In that rest, the belief in a second power loosens. In that loosening, you discover there never was a second power to fight. Do not believe me. Test. Tonight, take the most insistent problem by the hand, lead it into silence, and refuse to think it. Do not fix it. Do not fix yourself. God is, the grace of God is the only actor. And when you rise, even if only a feather's weight of fear has fallen, you will have witnessed the beginning of the reversal. Faith withdrawn from appearances and returned to the one. There are two parts to this work. There is the letter of truth, and there is the spirit or consciousness of truth. The letter is holy when it knows its place. It gives the mind a vocabulary. It turns the face in the right direction. It places the feet at the threshold. But the letter is not the door, and it is not the passage. The scripture says, the letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. Thinking about God is not God. Speaking truth is not the activity of truth. Memorized lines can point. Only realized presence heals. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can, of my own self, do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If you lean upon memory, if you trust in crafted sentences, you have merely shifted the idol from the appearance to the thought about the appearance. That is not salvation. That is a more respectable bondage. Hear it and let it burn out, a very old superstition. Neither mind nor thought is power. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. God is one. Therefore, there is not a second power in disease, and there is not a second power in your brave affirmations about disease. One power. God is. The letter trains the tongue to say, God is. God is one. Say it if you must until it lifts you beyond saying. The letter brings the mind to the gate and whispers, be still and know that I am God. Then the letter must bow and keep silence. Do not drag the letter into the sanctuary and command it to work. Stop. Stop. Let words do their single task and then let grace do the work. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet you can abide in it. That abiding is spirit, realized, not an idea of God, but God realized as the only presence. How do you know you have crossed from letter to spirit? When the pressure to perform eases and you find yourself resting in an inner Sabbath not made with hands, when, without effort, fear is noticed as an echo without a voice. My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. In that recognition, your thoughts become quiet servants and not masters. They take their rightful place as signposts that consent to be left behind. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from the tyranny of appearances and the tyranny of mental remedies. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. This is not a statement to overcome lack. It is the song of realized oneness that dissolves the very belief in lack. God is. God is one. Hold to that as the letter only long enough to be carried into the spirit. Then let the words fall away, and let the Father within doeth the works. Let us turn on the light, and let it show where the thief has been hiding. The thief is not disease, not lack, not circumstance. The thief is belief, your belief in a second power. As long as you tremble before an appearance, you have bowed. As long as you brace against it with a better thought, you have bowed again. You have said in your heart, this can harm me, or this can help me. And in either sentence, you have confessed a rival to God. Hear it lovingly, but hear it without delusion. God is one. I am the Lord. Beside me there is none else. Every fear assumes a second power. Every proud certainty in a positive mindset assumes a second power. If only I hold the right thought, I will be safe. Who is this I? Who is this thought that shall protect God's universe? Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Thought is not power. Mind is not power. The Father within me doeth the works. When you are frightened, you feed the specter. When you chase it with affirmations, you feed it again. Only now it wears respectable clothing. Stop. Stop. Withdraw faith from the costume and return it to the one. Ask yourself, and do not answer with the lips. If God is all, what remains outside to threaten or to assist God? Can an appearance add to the infinite or subtract from the whole? Can a shadow enter the sun and darken it? God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. A problem is a shadow, and a shadow borrows its outline from your light. Take back your light, and the outline vanishes. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. What room is left for a second proprietor? You cannot see God. You cannot hear, taste, touch, smell, or think God. You cannot reach God by straining the senses or polishing the intellect. Realization is not a sensory event, not a mental artifact, not an emotion encouraged to a fever pitch. Be still and know that I am God. In the quiet where thought ceases pretending to be a savior, presence reveals itself as the only fact. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Notice the moment you brace. Notice the subtle flinch, the calculation, the plan. In that instant, you have lent money to a beggar and called it prudence. Do not argue with the beggar. Do not strike the beggar. Close the account. Turn within. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Let your tongue fall quiet. Let the mind stand unarmed. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Reclaim your faith. Cease feeding shadows with your belief. Let the light be the only fact. Perfect love casteth out. Fear not, because love overpowers fear, but because fear never had power. As long as God is, you are resting in the one. God is one. Return faith to that and watch how the second power, exposed to be nothing, dissolves without a struggle. Taking thought is subtle because it wears your face and speaks your language. It does not always shout. It whispers forecasts, tomorrow's bill, next month's test, next year's loss. It rehearses a conversation 10 times, edits it 20, tries to secure a victory before the meeting begins. It bargains. If I do my practice faithfully, then by Friday, this will change. All of that is worship of a second power, who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature, make one hair white or black, or bend the hour to his will. Taking thought is the attempt to manage God with mind. It is a quiet idolatry, and it must cease before grace can appear. There is another refinement. You trade a frightened thought for a forceful thought and congratulate yourself on progress. You move from I am afraid to I am strong and feel taller. But who is this I that is strong? Who is this mind that furnishes power to truth? As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Thought is not power. Mind is not power. The Father within me doeth the works. Affirmationalism may polish the idol, but it does not remove it. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. God is one. Then there is religious busyness, holy noise, lips moving, beads counting, schedules for demonstrations, a calendar filed with sacred appointments. I will pray 30 minutes and expect the answer by noon. Expect, the Master warned. Use not vain repetitions, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Talking at God is still taking thought. It presumes absence and seeks to inform omniscience. Timing God is taking thought. It presumes a separate cause and effect. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want is not a clock to wind. It is a Sabbath to rest in. Watch now the personal doer dressed in piety. My technique, my formula, my faith. Listen to its polite boast. I have learned the right way. Cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils. I can of my own self do nothing. The moment you clutch a method, you enthrone your mind as mediator and ask God to salute it. Stop. Stop. Do away with all formulas that are not a spontaneous overflow of realized presence. God is. That is the entire lineage of true practice. So what shall you do? Do not do. Be still. Let your tongue fall out before you talk to God. Hold those teeth together. Sit 5 minutes and refuse the theater of words. Let the thought God is rise once, and then let it go like breath into the sea. Do not bargain. Do not time. Do not search for a sign. Be still and know that I am God. In that holy arrest, the mind surrenders its counterfeit scepter. The appearance, starved of your faith, fades, and grace already present comes into view. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. When you stop taking thought, you find you have been carried all along. In him we live and move and have our being. God is one. Let the one be the only actor. Prayer is not the art of improving conditions. It is the grace of being improved by God. True prayer places you on the receiving end of God. It is not telling, not persuading, not arranging. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Do not inform omniscience. Treat God as omniscience and be still. The moment you begin to report, to explain, to outline, you have already confessed the second power. Stop. Let prayer be what it is, a wordless, thoughtless inner communion in which presence announces itself. The two-word treatment is enough. God is. Let the is be final. Do not add to it. Do not embroider it with reasons. Let God is rise once like a bell that gathers the room, and then let the bell sound fade into silence. Sit there, not gazing, not concentrating, not manufacturing a state. Be still and know that I am God. If a whisper is needed to surrender the personal doer, let it be this: Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Let me feel thy presence. Then close the lips of the mind. Hold those teeth together. Consent to be the receiver, not the announcer. Harmony does not come by might, nor by power, nor by the calculus of thought. Harmony comes by grace. As sun does not argue with night but simply appears, so grace does not contend with appearances. It reveals what already is. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Outcomes follow realization, as fruit follows the sap. They are not managed, not monitored, not scheduled. The field does not draft a timetable for the lily. Consider the lilies. They toil not, neither do they spin. Prayer is the lily's way. Rooted, receptive, drinking what is present because it is present. You will be tempted to bargain. This silence shall earn me supply. This stillness shall repair my body. Cease bargaining. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want is not a coin. It is a Sabbath. In prayer, you do not move God toward your need. You are moved into the recognition that need is an illusion in the face of the one. My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Leave your way, leave your thought. Let the Father within you doeth the works. Make it simple and exact. Morning and evening, 3 minutes, if that is what you can bear. Sit and place yourself consciously on the receiving end. God is. Whisper if you must, Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Let me feel thy presence. Then no more words. Abide. In him we live and move and have our being. When you rise, do not check the fruit. Do not lift the root to see if it grows. Walk quietly. Grace will have gone before you. And when you notice a softening, and ease where strain was, give no credit to thought. Bow within and know, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Prayer has done its holy work by doing nothing but receiving the one. Let us bring the light right into the kitchen, where the envelope waits with its cargo of words. You open it. A doctor is given a name. And with that name comes the surge heat in the chest, a clench in the gut, the mind already writing futures it does not possess. The calendar flips. You see children, bills, endings. Do not analyze the storm. Step 1, notice. Say within, without drama, this is the temptation to believe a second power. That sentence is not resistance, it is exposure. You have found the exact hinge. Step 2, arrest. Stop. Stop. Close the lips. Let the tongue fall. Hold those teeth together. Do not run for a verse to throw. Do not recruit a strategy. Vain repetitions will only thicken the air. Be still and know that I am God. Step 3, relinquish the doer. I can, of my own self, do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, for in that humility you cease pretending to be cause. Step 4, apply the 2-word treatment, inwardly, as a bell softly struck thrice. God is, God is, God is one. Let it gather the scattered pieces and then let the sound fade. Step 5, silence. 30 seconds, 90, if grace holds you. No arguing with the report, no opposing thought, no attempt to bleach ink with brighter ink. Can a shadow command the sun? Can paper alter life? God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Sit and receive. Your prayers will be a wordless, thoughtless inner realization for the very ears of God. Step 6. Oneness recognition dawns not as a thought you push, but as a fact you notice. The life named on that paper is the life of God. There are not 2 lives, one vulnerable, one divine. In him we live and move and have our being. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the Lord. Beside me, there is none else. The one life cannot be threatened by a second life, for there is no second. Step 7, turn it over. Father, let thy grace be evident. Thy will be done. Then rest. Do not reach for results, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Presence, not pressure. Step 8, re-enter. Fold the paper, put the kettle on, wash a dish, send the email, keep the appointment you ought to keep. Resume the next right ordinary act without checking, measuring, or timing the demonstration. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want is not a stopwatch. It is a Sabbath. Understand me well. This is not denial of fact. It is denial of independent power to appearance. Authority is withdrawn from the report and returned to the one. In stillness, the image you feared loses the power you lent it. Grace reveals the harmony that was never absent. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. As long as God is, you are in that liberty now. Stop taking thought and let the presence be the only actor. Now let us widen the circle. You ask, what of my child, my friend, the one far away who calls in tears? Be very careful here, for this is the place where the personal doer loves to dress in charity and feel noble. There is no intermediary. God and the practitioner and the patient are one life, one mind, one being. If there is only one, where would a second stand to help the first? Where could help travel? I and my Father are one. In him we live and move and have our being. When you are asked to treat another, do not send thoughts. Do not project ideas across the city or across the room. Thought is not a carrier pigeon. Mind is not a wire. The Father within me doeth the works. What constitutes a practitioner is not a person endowed with skill. It is a state of consciousness that knows this truth, rests in it, and refuses to invent a second. The moment you begin to push a thought towards someone, you have established two: one who has, one who lacks, one who gives, one who receives. Stop, stop. God is one. How then shall you answer the call? Exactly as you would answer your own. Arrest the personal doer. Be still, and let realized oneness announce itself. Let your tongue fall quiet. Hold those teeth together. If a word must rise, let it be the two-word treatment, God is. And then let even that fade. Do not visualize the friend well. Do not measure their fear. Do not bargain outcomes. Treat God as omnipresence and be still. Healing is recognition, not transmission. Nothing moves from here to there, for there is no there. You say, but we are two. Surely our combined prayer has more effect? Yes. And hear what that means. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. It is not the arithmetic of will. It is the amplification of witnessed grace. United consciousness resting together in the same oneness dissolves the fiction of separation faster than one mind wavering alone, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. There is one body and one spirit. When two abide in that, fear finds no perch. In practice, it is simple. The phone rings. You listen. You do not instruct God about symptoms. You do not promise results by morning. You close the inner door and return to the one. Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Let thy presence be evident. Then silence. In that stillness, you are not improving another. You are awakening in the fact that there is no other. The recognition that God is the life of your friend is the recognition that God is the life of you. One life recognized as itself appears as harmony in whatever form is needed. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want neither you nor the one you love. Hold this firmly. The practitioner does not heal. God is. And realize God is the only healer. God and the practitioner and the patient are all one. As long as God is, wholeness is the fact already, universally, indivisibly. Rest there together, and let grace be the only actor. Mind is subtle. It will dress in your newest revelation and ask for the keys back. You'll fear an appearance. Then, with new polish, you trade the fear for a stronger sentence about God and congratulate yourself. But what has happened? You have enthroned thought again. You have moved the idol from a dark corner to the mantle and called it holy. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Thought is not power. Mind is not power. God is one. Another pitfall. My faith. You clutch at it as leverage, as if faith were a pry bar to move God into action. Who wields this faith? Who is this operator behind the lever? Cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. The more precious you hold my faith, the tighter you bind yourself to the personal doer. Loosen that knot. Faith is not a tool you use on God. Faith dissolves the you that tries to use it. Then the clock appears. You time God. You test outcomes. You peep under the soil to see if the seed is sprouting, and in the peeping you bruise the life. If nothing changes by Tuesday, I shall try another practice. Stop. Stop. Timing God and testing outcomes make idols of appearances. They whisper, the report is cause, the calendar is cause, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want is not a stopwatch. It is Sabbath. At times, the holiest correction is the most daring honesty. Have courage, if necessary, to doubt even your most cherished spiritual notions. Lay them on the altar. Start out clean. Be honest before God. Do you rest in the One, or do you secretly trust your phrases, your moods, your proofs? My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Better a naked heart in silence than a robe of quotations worn to impress your own mind. So, the corrections. First sign of strain, return to simplicity. Do not substitute new thoughts for old. Abandon thought power altogether and return to the One. Let the tongue fall. Hold those teeth together. One bell only. God is. Then let even that bell fade. Be still and know that I am God. No bargaining, no measuring, no search for signs. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. If you find yourself hunting for the feeling, trying to see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think God, notice, smile within, and stop. You cannot seize grace with senses or mind. You can only yield. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Yield, and liberty appears as what has always been, not an achievement, a revelation. God is one. Let the One be the only actor. Discipline in this way is not strain. It is quiet readiness. We are not building a ladder to reach God. We are consenting to be found by what is already here. Grace is the actor. We establish availability. So each day has a simple frame, morning and evening, when you place yourself consciously on the receiving end. Sit 3 minutes, 5 if grace holds you, and let one bell gather your awareness. God is. No requests, no projects, no improving of conditions. Let your tongue fall. Hold those teeth together. Let the bell fade into stillness, and do not chase it. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. In the evening, the same. Do not review accomplishments or failures as if they were powers. Do not promise God better performance tomorrow. Stop. God is. Whisper if needed, Father, I can of mine own self do nothing. Let me feel thy presence. Then be still. You are not hunting a feeling. You are not scenting signs. You are consenting to oneness. The letter has done its task. Now let the Spirit give life, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Leave the night unmanaged and sleep in Sabbath. Through the day, weave micro pauses, one breath before the email, one breath before the call, one breath at the threshold of a room, one breath before the first bite. In that breath, recall, not as a sentence to throw, but as a fact to yield to. God is one. Rehearse, if it helps, to rinse the senses. I cannot see God, hear God, taste God, touch God, smell God, or think God. Yet God is. The reliance on proofs loosens, and presence takes its rightful place as unprovable reality. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty in a breath is enough to change the atmosphere of a task. When disturbance appears, do not argue. Do not draft a case for or against it. Notice, this is the temptation to a second power. Arrest, stop. Close the lips. Let the tongue fall. Relinquish the doer I can of mine own self. Do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Strike the bell once or twice, God is. Then silence 30 seconds. Is eternity enough for grace to appear? Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Re-enter the moment without peeking for results. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want his Sabbath, not stopwatch. Guard yourself from forging new formulas out of these directions. If the Spirit says, sit 2 breaths, sit 2. If the Spirit holds you 10 minutes, remain 10. The wind bloweth where it listeth. Treat God as omniscience by refusing to manage omniscience. Small, steady realizations, these quiet surrenders shape a life posture in which harmony appears naturally and unstressed, as fruit appears on a branch, not by effort, but by life. Where 2 or more in your household begin to live this way, united consciousness gathers, and even the walls seem to exhale. Keep it simple, morning and evening, and the breaths between. God is one, and in that constancy, grace does what grace alone can do. Let us seal this not with more words, but with a final reversal you must carry into your night. You never had a problem. You had a thought you trusted. Withdraw that trust. Refuse the second power its meal. If an appearance calls itself lack, disease, danger, or delay, remember with compassionate rigor, I gave it breath by belief. I can take back that breath by resting in the One. God is one. I am the Lord. Beside me there is none else. As you stop taking thought, you discover there is nothing left to oppose and nothing left to support. Only God is. Do not permit the personal doer to rise for a bow at the end. Identity is clarified here. At the altar of adequacy relinquished, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Hold that like the staff in Moses' hand. Lift it inwardly and watch the sea of appearances stand back. My thoughts are not your thoughts, Father. Let thy mind be in me, which was also in the Christ. This is not poorness. This is the wealth of oneness. In this understanding, you are sent not as an operator, but as a transparency through which grace appears. Promise and immediacy are not future tense. Begin tonight. You can do healing work by doing no work by resting in the One. Close the lips. Let the tongue fall. Strike the bell once. God is. Sit 3 minutes. 5 if grace holds you. No projects. No timing. Be still and know that I am God. If fear pricks, do not bargain. Simply return the power you lent the picture. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty appears as what already is when you cease manufacturing what never was. Do not leave this in the room. Carry it into your doorways. A household that consents to oneness becomes a sanctuary without walls. Where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. 2 breaths of shared silence at the table will do more than hours of anxious counsel. A workplace with one who abides becomes strangely orderly. Tempers soften as if someone opened a window. If there are 10 righteous in a city, 10 who rest in the One, do you not believe the streets can be quieted, the schools brightened, the hospitals gentled? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not a theory of liberty, but the felt lightening of being. So I send you in the simplest way a life can be sent. Live from the fact of one, power. Stop taking thought. Let the presence be the only actor. When disturbance appears, withdraw your faith from its costume and return it to the One. When joy appears, do the same. lest you enthrone a pleasant second power. God is. God is one. Be still. Let the grace of God appear. As long as God is, I am. Walk in that and fear no evil, for thou art with me. And where thou art, harmony is already